world. I want the whole world. I want to lock it all up in my pocket. It's Marmite or chocolate. Yes. Don't care how. I want it now. I want today. I want tomorrow. I want to lock it all up in my pocket. It's Marmite or chocolate. Yes. Okay. All right. I want a party with room full of laughter, 10,000 tons of ice cream. And if I don't get the things that I'm after, I'm going to scream. I want the works. I want the whole works. I want to... Oh, shoot, I can't remember the words. All I know is I want what I want. And I just absolutely am waiting for them to deliver to me the judgment of the judge on my dismissal. Okay? Does anyone need to be perfect in this world? I do. I need to be perfect. But nobody is going to give me any slack at all. I've got to be the one. I've got to be the one to let everyone know that I'm going to get my way. Yes, I know that you know, I got to go back to Idaho and I've got to live out the rest of my days in Pocatello Women's Prison. But here in Arizona, things can be so much different. And, you know, things happen, right? And, you know, I'm just ready. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, the jail guy? Oh, okay. You got my paperwork? Oh, the judge's decision on my motion to dismiss. I'm ready. I've got to have it all. Don't you know? Don't you know? I've got to have everything my way. Let's see what the judges said. I'm ready to pack up and go. I'm even going to take home Mark Mean's little suitcase there with the laptop and everything. You know, I might sell it at a pawn shop. You know, a lot, kind of like how I got rid of JJ's service dog. I wanted to make money on it, but it just didn't happen. But, you know, I get what I want when I want it, right? All right, it says here, and they just handed this to me, the minute entry, Lori Daybell, that's me. You know, the gherkin, he's over there on death row right now, but he wants to make sure to send his vibrations my way so that I can have this case dismissed against me. But it says, the court has received and reviewed defendant's motion to dismiss. You know, it feels so good. It feels so good that I get to be in charge. You know, I get to be in charge of everything. And I know this is going to go my way because, you know, me being the lowercase g and all, I slice through it. I slice through man's law to get to the godliness of it all. As pointed out in the defendant's motion, the trial has been continued several times. See? I told you it was going to go my way. I just can't wear my famous, you know, my famous glasses here that Janice brought me. I'll have to wear these stupid glasses that Janice sent me. That were, you know, a little bit better. But anyway, it's been continued several times over the objection of the defendant. The first continuance from April 1st of 2024 to August 1st of 2024 occurred when the case was designated complex upon agreement of the state, defense attorneys, and the court. The next continuance of the trial date was at the request of the defense team based on the very extensive amount of discovery that has been disclosed by the state. The defense team needed more time to review all the discovery and be adequately prepared to competently defend the case at trial. Between that continuance and the currently scheduled trial date, the original defense team withdrew and new attorneys appointed, and the defendant went through a competency evaluation. They think I'm crazy, don't they? They think that I'm out of my mind, but I've got insight. I've got an insight beyond the veil. I know what I'm talking about. Each continuance of the trial date was based on the extraordinary circumstances of this case, mainly the outsized amount of discovery, and delay was indispensable to the interest of justice. Each and every extension of the last day has been permissible and appropriate under Arizona Rules of Criminal Procedural Rules 8.1, 8.4, and 8.5. Well, what are they trying to tell me here? What are they trying to say to me? The trial in this case will proceed soon after the conclusion of the trial of CR 2021-00174-001, assuming that the defendant is prepared to proceed with back-to-back trials. The last day in this case remains May 11th of 2025. It's ordered. It is ordered denying the defendant's motion to dismiss. Well, I guess the evil forces are against me. What he is saying is that I'm gonna have back-to-back trials, and assuming I want to move forward and everything. And you know what? I've just figured it out. They're all against me. Everyone is against me. I should have been able to get out of this Arizona trial along with the other one with Brandon Boudreaux. But it seems to me that they're going to deny everything that I put in front of them. You know, I said the state had plenty of time. They had plenty of time to work this out. But that just wasn't a legal argument, was it? All I know is this. Until I get my day in court, nothing's going to be right. Nothing is going to be right. And I want the world. I want the whole world. I want to lock it all up in my pocket. It's my bar of chocolate. And yeah, don't care how. I want it now. Don't care how. I want it now. So much for being prepared, huh? Well, how about this, folks? How about this? We get the news today from Justin Lum, and I knew it was going to go that way. I mean, I knew it. I knew that the hussy was not going to get her trial dismissed, and especially not the fact that she's got two of them that she's going to have to deal with. But because OKJ forgot to exit out of the computer screen and everything, I screwed my whole skit up. So I guess the Rays have seen it time and time again that OKJ isn't perfect. I'd love to be, but I'll tell you this right now, that damn hooker, she thinks that she can file a motion to dismiss. Wonder what she was thinking, right? Wonder what she was thinking when she got the news that all this is denied. Now, she's had denials before, too. She thought, oh, here it is. Well, folks, I'm going to talk to y'all about this latest news, but I'm also going to talk about the fact that this woman actually believes that she can get a speedy trial when she is faced against a complex case. Now, I'm never, ever going to sell the Rays short, because the Rays know a hell of a lot more than OKJ. But I will say this. When I talk of these things that are fact, when I talk about these things as it relates to any case that we're discussing, I'm going to bring you the facts. A complex case is an action that requires exceptional judicial management to avoid placing unnecessary burdens on the court or the litigants and to expedite the case. Do you think this judge wants to drag his ass? Do you think the prosecutor or even her advisor, the Daybell team, do you think any of them want this shit drug out? No. But we're talking about reality here, y'all. And we're also talking about instant gratification that damn hooker seems to think she's entitled to. It keeps costs reasonable when they have to take all these things into consideration, y'all, and promote effective decision-making by the court, the parties, and the counsel. Complex trial cases can take months or years to resolve, and we've seen it firsthand. We saw it in Chad and Lori's cases. How long did the victims' family members have to deal with this shit? Huh? How long? Lori, she's like, I want a speedy trial. I want a speedy trial. They throw her ass in a damn nut house over there. Chad Daybell wants to change her venue. Chad Daybell wants this, that. They sever the cases, do all this shit. And then they say, well, it's been a few years. They don't even think about the victim's family members. But again, complex trials can take months or years to resolve depending on the charges, evidence, and other factors. Factors that affect the length of the case is the type of case. This hooker, and I'll call her a hooker any damn time I want to because she is. She's a freaking damn stand on the street corner, spread those legs, and throw those nickels in there. The type of case, misdemeanor cases, and of course this doesn't apply, but I'm just trying to give the overall environmental view here, typically resolve faster than felony cases. The complexity, and that's what we've talked about, y'all, voluminous evidence, right? Complexity, cases with multiple defendants, serious charges, or extensive evidence take longer. Discovery, the time it takes to gather and exchange evidence can vary. People think that when the state of any criminal case is sharing their discovery, which they've got to do, that it's just like, we're talking about a lot of stuff. We're talking about they're still investigating up to the date of the trial. Not that is going to happen in this one, but what I'm saying is that there are strategic, I can't even say it. Strategic. Okay, there we go. I said it. There are strategic moves that the state makes at the last minute. Here is Opie, everyone. I don't know what he's got on his mouth. He's probably chewing up something. Here he is, y'all. Opie's here to wonder why his mama is yelling and screaming and acting crazy. In fact, when I put the wig on earlier, he sat there and he looked at me like I was a crazy woman. And I'm sure you thought the same, huh? But anyway, so we've got the type of case, complexity, discovery, plea bargains. Like this damn woman is going to do a plea bargain. That's not going to happen. Court schedule. The availability of court can impact the timeline and defendant's decisions. Whether the defendant chooses to accept a plea deal or go to trial can affect the timeline. She isn't going to give nothing. She's gonna represent herself. Lori has to have, y'all. Hear me. No matter how much KJ falls on her face and does everything wrong, you can hear this right now. Lori has to have instant gratification in all areas of her life. It's been on full display for several years now. This is an opinion. We've seen it in action. And how will that come out in her trial for the murder of Charles Vallow? Instant gratification is the act of immediately satisfying a need or desire. rather than waiting for a future benefit. It's a natural human tendency to want things right away, but it can lead to poor choices and distract from long-term goals. And poor choices and long-term goals, this damn woman could not see anything but I want it right now. And she was willing to do whatever it took to get it. If you can't see that, I guarantee you that definition that I just read sums up the hussy through and through. But there are consequences, and we've seen it. We've seen the consequences. Not only have we seen the consequences in this hooker's actions and behaviors, her criminality, the fact she's a serial killer, but, you know, in other trials, think about if you just stopped and said, was there this mentality of instant gratification for other people that murdered people? Here in the crime genre community, OKJ's going to look at you right now, and I'm going to make this statement. In every single evil, murderous trial and criminal act, there has always been instant gratification that played a part in all of it. And some would say, well, KJ, are you saying that these people murdered them because they instantly murdered them because they wanted something out of it? No, it led up to them. Some people could not get their way, whatever the reasoning was. And in order to fulfill that instant gratification, they went and murdered them. So that feeling of not getting what they wanted would subside. Now just think about that. But the consequences are instant gratification can make it difficult to focus on long-term goals. And, you know, if you really look at what Lori had done all the way from beginning, from Arizona all the way into Idaho, what was her end goal? She wanted a better life. She wanted someone else. Just as we spoke years ago about what was her end game? What was that? What was the goal that she was trying to obtain? Was it more power, more sex, more influence? The bottom line is that Lori Hussey Daybell could not see past her momentary instant gratification. She had it. She had to get it done. Think about from Arizona into Idaho. How long did it take her to murder her own daughter once she hit Idaho? What, 6 to 8 days? I know there's a certain date there, but I'm not, you know what I'm saying? In the first week, basically, of her being into Idaho, she's murdering her own daughter, okay? And then she goes on to spread it out a little bit because, in my view, and I could be wrong, after she murdered Tylee, it took her a while for it to sink in, you know, with no conscience. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying they had to really think about what they had just done to Tylee. And it took a little longer for JJ. And, you know, long story short, they realized that they had to take them both out in order for Lori to get what? Her instant gratification. It is what it is, folks. But wonder what she thought when she read the denials so far in Arizona, because she's been denied several times by this judge. She's not getting her way. She's not getting what she wants. So the consequences of her instant gratification and I'm not saying that is the it. I'm saying it is a component. Ultimately, we both know the real priority was her evil, diabolical, satanic, demon possession crap. But her poor choices, instant gratification can lead to impulsive decisions that aren't in your best interest. There's nothing that Lori Hussey Daybell did that was in her best interest. Everything was about her making a decision, basically, not to protect her children, not to protect her husband, Charles. Let him go on. And I'll even go so far as to say Joe Ryan. She didn't care about that either. She'd already gotten her instant gratification from Joe Ryan with the great big house, the Mrs. Texas pageant, everything he could do to please this damn hooker. And it wasn't enough for her. It was not going to fill that void of what, y'all? That feeling of wanting something, wanting it more than, I believe at one time she really didn't know what it was. And it was, to me, demon possession, but others might disagree. Also, the consequences of instant gratification is destructive outcomes, and we've seen it on display. Over-reliance on instant gratification can lead to financial, social, and health problems. Well, instant gratification. Did Lori have any health problems? I'll tell you, if you want to include mental health, she wasn't out there trying to be proactive about her mental health status. I do believe that Lori had mental health issues, and she should have sought, at least for nothing else, to go and speak to a therapist. Maybe she could go hang out with Jody Hillebrand. I don't know. All I know is this woman did not take care of her mental health, and thus, in my view, she absolutely turned her back on things that would have helped her to make good decisions. Her financial situation, folks, it was always going to be someone else who was going to pay. Someone else was going to pay for whatever Lori wanted. Lori never, at one time, right? She was a hairdresser. How long that shit work out? How much money did she make? I said this years ago. She could have went with Joe Ryan or Charles and said, you know what? I'm a hairdresser. And instead of giving Zulema a pair of my high-dollar scissors for whatever reason, Charles or Joe, I really want to open up a beautiful shop and called, something with my name in it because I'm so egotistical. And I'm going to make lots of money or do all this. I'm going to hire all these beauticians and I'm going to be like, Paul Mitchell or whatever. She never took stock in anything that she could do personally. For her to become a hairdresser is a big deal in my view. I know a lot of people out here that go out here and they work their ass off to create a trade for themselves. They're trained in certain things. And it's, I could never cut hair. I know how to shave my head. The braids know that. But as far as being a hairdresser, I couldn't do it. She could have done so much. But she didn't rely on herself to give her that instant gratification. She relied on others. And maybe, just maybe, this was something that growing up, I don't know. I only know bits and pieces of her freaked out family and everything. She seemed to be she grew up in a well-to-do home. Her father and mother were weird as hell, freaky people, but she was a cheerleader. She had all these advantages that other young women wouldn't have. So I can't say that she was raised in poverty and, she was traumatized for this or that. Yes, we could talk about how she, one of her friends in a book said, that her brother wanted to have sex with her and all this and that. But the bottom line is, she grew up in a situation, even if it was a terrible abusive situation, she still developed this instant gratification. Delayed gratification. What does that do to somebody like Lori? Think about the delayed gratification that she wanted. She wanted to be with Chad Daybell. And it was delayed because she had all this, if you want to call it baggage, I just say it was just life. She was married. She had children. She had responsibilities. People saw her in a certain light. She made quilts. She did stuff in her church and all this and that. And everybody said she was a great mother. Well, how is she supposed to shed that and receive instant gratification? So delayed gratification is the ability to wait for a future benefit instead of choosing something immediately. It's also known as patience, and it's often considered a virtue. Do you think this hooker had any virtue about her at all to be patient about being with Chad Daybell? I mean, they saw it, and this is just an opinion. What if Lori's like, okay, I've got to be patient with Chad. He's married to Tammy. They've been married for all these years. How is that going to be resolved? Because he's not going to divorce her. And he sure as hell ain't going to convince her that I'm going to be one of his polygamous wives. And even if he could tell her, we're going to get into polygamy, Tammy wouldn't have went for it, right? So what I am trying to say is that she could not bring herself to have that delayed, type of gratification, because, people will say, well, KJ, the reason she didn't want to put things off is because Chad kept filling her head full of crap and all this and that. Folks, this woman knew exactly what she was doing at all times. She was not vulnerable. She was absolutely in charge of everything she did. And in fact, now that we've had time to settle this all out, we know that Lori agged on Chad. Let's see what we got here. Oh, you are talking about all kinds of stuff. She used others, and so did her family when Charles was paying for the bills. Janelle Murphy. There you go. That's just one example. She couldn't go out and pay her own phone bill. And I'm not dogging out anyone at all for not being able to pay their own phone bill. There are probably people on here that's got help. And that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this whole concept of she's going to get it. It's what she wants. She's going to get it. And in return, she's going to give them what? What they want back. But she got tired of giving back to Joe and Charles and probably to her other exes, even though she should have realized that they were doing these things because they loved her. But she looked at it like, well, they only do what they do for me because I spread my legs, or I act a certain way, or I'm pretty, or I'm their trophy wife, or this or that. She developed her own ideas of what she thought they were getting out of what she was giving back, right? Alpha Fib X says, isn't that awful to have skills and be so lazy you'd rather use others? And y'all, it isn't an opinion. Alpha is not giving an opinion. Lori Hussey Daybell actually used the people that were giving to her. It was an instant gratification. It was filling a hole inside of her. It was what she thought gave her value. As long as they're giving to me, whether it's monetarily, whether it's through praise, whatever it was. Kathy Mama Bear says, it makes me mad because I would give anything to not be chronically ill and be able to continue to work. Janelle Murphy also says her skill was manipulation. Sugar Butt Starburst says, I wish I could work too, but being in horrible chronic pain. Now, let's take a step back. What y'all are talking about is valid and understandable. Lori was able-bodied. Lori was smart. Lori was intelligent. Lori was absolutely demon-possessed, diabolical, very manipulative. She knew how to use people. She had her narcissism and everything like that. What y'all are speaking of are things beyond your control. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to look at you right now. Don't you ever feel less or guilty or ashamed or anything else because of what you had to do in order for other people to help you. OKJ has had things in my life where I've had to have people help me. So please don't equate what I'm saying at all to that. Jay says, even on YouTube, she could have been some kind of a hairstylist consultant. She has a dark heart and chose that route. She absolutely chose what she chose, y'all. What people think is their own business. But that is a fact, y'all. She absolutely chose to do what she did. Explain to me how you go to murder your own precious children and a beautiful husband like Charles Vallow without the words instant gratification coming in to the picture. It was like, oh, well, I've only got one life to live, so I got to quickly do this shit because I want to get with the gherkin. I want to pretend that he has a great big one, but he's got nothing more than a little itty bitty pickle that I pretend when he falls in where I have to take my hand and pull his ass out of my vagina. I wonder what it does for her. What does she gain by doing all this? Alpha Femme XT, at the time before she got busted, she was not getting busted during all of this. She left Arizona thinking she got away with it. She got away with it. She thought in her own mind. And what does that do? Whether Chad is whispering in her ear or whether she develops this idea on her own, well, I got away with it, so it must have been the right thing to do to murder Charles Vallow. And thus, that continues to shore up this idea that I'm a lowercase g because, y'all, she did a self-induced lowercase g bullshit kind of thing. She absolutely wanted to lie to herself. Janelle Murphy says Chad thought he got away with it too. I mean, we could apply this instant gratification with Chad Daybell. You think Chad Daybell got instant gratification from his life with Tammy after all those years? Do you think he was getting the kind of sexual pleasure that he thought he deserved from his wife Tammy? Do you think that he didn't look at Tammy's body physically and then look at the hussy's body and say, I deserve better? It was instant gratification. That's what Chad made his decisions on. This bullshit about I see beyond the veil. Lori, get in your closet, where I'll get in my closet, and we'll just pretend we're I'll grab myself, says Chad Daybell, in bed and pretend you're having sex with me and all that nasty stuff. Alpha Femme XT says, I know. I have a sister who will use anyone as opportunities instead of seeing them as people. They're dangerous people. I wonder how their brains work, though. Like, what makes the switch flip in them? There is no switch, Alpha Femme. When it comes to instant gratification, a lot of y'all would be surprised to know that all of us, including OKJ and all of you, you can deny it all you want, but the truth is instant gratification has happened to all of us, except in our cases, we don't want to murder people. We don't want to cheat on our husbands. We don't want to do anything illegal. From an evolutionary standpoint, with all of us being human beings, the desire for instant gratification is considered a human instinct, as our brains are naturally wired to seek immediate rewards, which historically helped ensure survival by quickly taking advantage of available resources when faced with uncertain situations like finding food or escaping danger. This tendency is deeply rooted in our nature, and nothing that Lori ever did in her instant gratification had anything to do with a roof over her head or shelter or food in her stomach. It was always about, I want more, I want more, I want more. It would be different if we had a situation where the hussy, it was brought out that she was in a homeless shelter or living in the projects, but even then, that doesn't excuse what she did. But in the past, prioritizing immediate gratification allowed early humans to react quickly to threats and secure necessities like food when available, enhancing their chances of survival and reproduction. And none of that applies to Lori. She had everything in the world. Chad Daybell had everything in the world. Any kind of need that was met, it just was not enough. And you know why it wasn't enough? Because demon possession will always make you think you aren't getting what you deserve, right? The brain's reward system is designed to release dopamine when we experience pleasure, which reinforces the behavior of seeking immediate gratification. And Lori's brain, however screwed up that was, she absolutely was wired to the hilt to get what she wanted when she wanted it. While this instinct was beneficial in ancestral environments, in today's society it can lead to impulsive behaviors and difficulties with delayed gratification, especially when faced with readily available what? Temptations. When a temptation was put in front of Lori, it wasn't about, I'm going to take that temptation because I want to get that instant gratification. In order to get that temptation, steps had to be made. Steps had to happen. She couldn't just walk into Chad and Tammy's house and say, Chad, you're going to be my king and we're going to be together forever. And she sure as hell could not just wave off Chad not wanting Tylee and JJ in her life. Chad Daybell was not going to be a stepfather to the kids. Remember him talking about people didn't like Tylee didn't like people, and she didn't like me. The bottom line is that they absolutely put their instant gratification on steroids. They wanted so much to be together so they could have sex and do all that nasty ass stuff. And she could fake her orgasms and he could pretend he had a big one. The bottom line is this. They went off into Hawaii after murdering those children and Tammy, acting like it was not going to follow them or anything. They shielded themselves from the thought of that until then police officers walked up to Lori while she was sitting in her turquoise bikini and served her those papers. They would have went on and on and on, never thinking anything else about those children or Tammy. It was all about instant gratification. And folks, I'm going to tell you what, in the crime genre community, if you learn nothing else out of KJ's stumbles and falling down and screwing up on my freaking live streams, I want you to hear me, by God, I'm telling you right now. Every single crime case that you'll ever follow, no matter what the trial is, it is going to be caused by instant gratification, y'all. Not only physically, but spiritually. Make no mistake. Temptation doesn't mean I'm just going to grab that damn fruit that I'm told I'm not supposed to eat. It's about, folks, it's about going so far into the extreme that you're willing to murder people. If for nothing else, that instant gratification of the mental illness that is just screaming in your head of a serial killer or someone who can't get his wife back because she's left him. How many of these have we seen where the man kills his wife because she's left him? Oh, some people say, well, KJ, that's domestic violence. You can look that up statistically. Yes. But it also has to do with this feeling inside of them where they're like, I can't get her back. I can't get her back, and by God, it's just killing me. And what do? If I can't have her, no one's going to have her. Folks, that equals instant gratification. So Lori wanted that instant gratification. When she filed these motions, she'll continue to file motions in her stupid ass freaking handwritten stuff. The judge has already told her that this is a complex case. It's going to pass muster. And when she brings up the whole thing about the state had plenty of time to work this out, I guarantee you the state of Arizona and this judge is doing everything on the level. And he's reminded Miss Hussey there that she's got back-to-back trials. He's letting her know if she doesn't get her, she's not gotten her date for Brandon Boudreaux yet. He's let her know this should end on May, May 1st or something like that. This should end on that. He's letting her know we're going to schedule Brandon Boudreaux's right after that. They're going to double whammy this bitch. How about that? How about that? This woman wanted her instant gratification. Why is she going to get it? She got to get it in jail? Is she going to get it in Pocatello Women's Prison? What kind of instant gratification is this woman going to get? She ain't going to get her instant gratification until she does what, y'all? She gets in line. She gets in line with the life of living in prison. And then she's going to find out what she can be gratified with. That's what she's going to do. Her whole idea of instant gratification is going to be shrunk down to a prison jail cell and maybe going out in the common area and, licking here and licking there and getting her way. And she's going to do it. She's going to find any and every way. If it's, I need extra money, Sammy. I need those Twinkies with the cream filling in the middle. I need the extra, yeast infection medicine, Janice. I need some money on my commissary. Favors by other inmates. That's about it. That's all the instant gratification this hooker is ever going to get. Oh, yeah, she's going to want instant gratification on her appeals. But I can tell you this, she's not going to get it in Idaho. I don't think she's going to get it in Arizona. But really, ultimately what we want to see is instant gratification on justice of Charles Vallow. And we're not going to get it until the trial's through. But we're going to see. We're going to see this trial, and I challenge each of the Rays on here. You better hear me. Instant gratification. When Lori starts to cross-examine or her opening statement in her upcoming trial, her closing argument, if she even gets that far, which I don't think she will, but let's just for sake of argument, what kind of instant gratification is she going to get in that? It's in her DNA and in her instincts as an evil, diabolical hussy that she wants that instant gratification for nothing else, y'all. Narcissism. She's going to want that. And it's going to come out in her questioning. And there's going to be objections. And there's going to be all kinds of chaos in all of it. She wanted her instant gratification from Joe Ryan. She got it. He gave her everything. He gave her everything. Charles Vallow, he gave her everything. He loved this woman with every bit of who he was. But you know what? Real love, the real love that Charles Vallow showed this woman was not what she really wanted. What she wanted. What she wanted. What does she want, y'all? That's a question you've got to answer for yourself. How many times have we seen her in action on instant gratification? Think about that. Think about everything that she's ever done. If she's not the poster child for instant gratification, I don't know what is. The bottom line is she didn't get no gratification from the judge denying her a dismissal of her case. Charles Vallow will see justice. Charles Vallow's family will see justice. And not one of those victims' family members received instant gratification after years of the adjudication process happening. They had to be patient. They held their heads up high. They showed a virtue of patience, even though they were probably eat up inside over the loss of their loved one. Trevor Lebeck says Kay will chew her up and spit her out. Shemal says her trial is going to be so much fun to watch. Janelle Murphy, you had some good comments today. She wanted what she wanted when she wanted it. She goes where the wind blows. Well, I'll tell you what, Janelle Murphy, great comment. I guarantee you this. There ain't no damn wind blowing through no freaking jail cell bars for this hooker. She ain't gonna know what it feels like to have the Hawaiian breeze through her freaked out damn life. She threw it all away, all for instant gratification, all to feed that demon that's inside of her that's sitting in a damn corner. You better believe that might be my opinion, but by God, I believe it. Sugarbart Starburst says, I want to try to go to the trial, but Phoenix is 2 hours away from me. Well, how about this, Sugarbud? Phoenix is very far away from Tennessee. Oh, this is interesting. Salty says, higher levels of psychological gratification from accomplishments over time is from a narcissistic level. Very good point. You know, I'll never forget, y'all. There were so many things about her when you saw her, and we're talking about before her trial in Idaho, when they was showing her over in Hawaii. She's coming out of the church. She's running out of the church, and Chad's in the passenger seat, and she gets in the driver's seat. It's almost like, I'm a star. Y'all quit doing the cameras on me. I feel like such a star. All of the people that want to see me. Give me a break. Sis, you should have been a detective, says Lori had Charles's loving family and did not want it. Of course she did. You don't want to know why, sis, you have never been a detective? Because she could see that Charles's family was real, were stable, were better than her. And the same thing goes with Tylee and JJ. She knew that they were better than her, and she didn't want to be around anyone who didn't think that she was better than them. And Chad, I mean, we see it in the evidence in his trial and hers, that, you know, Chad basically allowed her to believe whatever would make her feel like she was better than him. You know, some people would disagree with OKJ and say, no, Chad was making her believe all this stuff. Y'all, this woman had already been through several marriages. She knew how to play these men. And all she had to do was spread her legs. I mean, really. That's all she had to do. Shemal says it'll be a circus and Lori will be a great clown. Y'all, when I was thinking about that skit to try to encapsulate what I was going to talk about, I thought about Veruca Salt. And I apologize that I left the screen on over there, y'all. You look at me. You know me. I've fallen on my face a million times. I was trying to prove a point that this woman really thought that everyone owed her, that everyone was out there to please her. And when they stopped pleasing her, she got them out of her life. And in her personal circle, she murdered them. Everyone else was shunned. And she, you know, anyone that was against her or questioned her, just out of curiosity, they weren't trying to be aggressive toward her or say that she was wrong. They just was asking a question. She cut them off at the knees. Melissa Beck says Chad reminds me of Humpty Dumpty. Oh, there's Cresha. Hello, everyone, says Cresha. We'll be watching from my TV. Yeah, and y'all need to go hear Cresha's latest vid that I have it posted on the community wall. Cresha, I hope everything's going well. This news wasn't big shocker news. We knew that the judge was going to deny her a dismissal in Arizona. I'm just trying to prove a point. And that is if anyone on here wants to say that Lori wasn't into instant gratification, that's your right. But in terms of defining it and showing what it is in action, that's what it was all about. Was it about her as an individual? Yes, but it was also, in my opinion, and people think I'm crazy, I don't care. You think I freaking care? She is demon possessed, y'all. How many times do I have to say it? She has an actual evil entity in her. And it's in the corner inside of her, and it's not going to leave her until she is gone. That demon is going to be happy to engulf her. She is pure evil, Trevor. Marshall says me after 13 Mountain Dews. Well, Marshall, I'll just share this with you. You ain't seen nothing yet. Yeah, I know. The trolls love to feed on here. I look at it as just, par for the course, right? The Rays remember a time when it was just us. And somehow YouTube screwed me and decided to let it, even though it's public. I had it public all along. And the Rays were the only one on here for 5 years. Or at least 4 years anyway. 4.5 years, maybe 4 years. And then all of a sudden, people started attacking me. Well, guess what? Maybe they want some instant gratification. Maybe they don't feel good about themselves and they've got to spread their bullshit and their stupid ass thoughts that are geared toward other people that they don't even know. They want some instant gratification. And it's evil and it's wrong to just talk to a stranger and say mean things to them for no reason at all. It's okay to have an opinion, but if it's not something that is going to, I don't know, kind of encapsulate this whole idea of instant gratification so that people can understand it without personally attacking somebody, yeah, let's just say this. Let's just say that if anybody comes on here that says some mean stuff, that is a demonstration of them wanting instant gratification. And it absolutely makes me feel good that they would come on here and say those bad things, because it kind of just sums everything up, Difficult research, it says in the Hamlin case, they talk about performing ceremonies in which they possess people, kids, dogs, cats, etc. It's wild as F. Hi, the insane man. Shemal, Chad Daybell will not testify in Lori's trial. He's in the appeals process. I know we'd all like to see it, but his appellate attorney's not going to allow him to go and testify at anything. So, well, thank you, sis. You should have been a detective. I appreciate that, and I really like your YouTube name. Yes, Jet Set J. Chocolate is an instant gratification. So, hello, Mark McGarry. How are you? Are you ready to go through this with the hussy, huh? Are we going to find out anything we don't already know? Maybe. The real priority in it all, and it's not instant gratification for a lot of us on here because we have been through 5 years of this. We've all been patient. We've all vented that we wished we wouldn't have had to wait that long. But what we're going to get out of this is justice through understanding. That's what we're going to get out of it. So, anyway, hello, Tina Reddington. So, y'all, I'm going to let you go. Leave your comments on the rewatch. Let me know what you think about what you think Lori is going to do to get some instant gratification moving forward as she represents herself. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Kathy Mama Bear, and other mods that might have come on here. And as always, y'all, I love you and keep on looking.